We had Lil Durk drop an album. We had Nav drop an album. I think Lil Durk's numbers actually apparently did very well. Nav did not. So, did you get a chance to listen to either projects at all?
I did not. So I won't comment obviously on the quality of something I never listened to,
Okay.
but I will say Nav, I'm definitely more excited to listen to than Lil Durk, primarily because like to me, Lil Durk is it's just like trauma murder music and something I just will
And
never
people just like him more
relate
for
to.
whatever reason.
Yeah. I think it's because I don't know, he's one of the chosen ones and I get it. Like his all the shit he's been through is obviously insane. I'm sure
Yeah.
I think he has like in his entire friend group has died, family members, everything. Which and I feel for him in that regard, but musically, it's just not something I feel like I want to consume unless I'm in the gym and it's like a banger. Otherwise, I'm like, this is just low key depressing and at times just too violent, which is crazy to say because I feel like hip hop, like we're already desensitized to it, but I feel like it's the same story being told over and over. Like, slide up on us, we're gonna slide on you, blah blah blah, Vaughn, this and that. Like, how many
Yeah,
fucking
he
times
he
do
he
we hear?
keeps seeing Vaughn in his dreams, which
Yeah,
again is probably a real thing. So like, I also don't want to be dismissive of it, right? But as far as like,
yeah,
I get what you're saying though. So again, I heard both albums. I will tell you. So my honest opinion was that the Little Jerk one was hard to get through because of the overwhelming. I've like heard this before. Like some of the beats actually hit pretty hard, but then it's like, man, I've heard this before, right? And then again, to our critique of Playboy Cardi, even though his sound is different, it's like, man, but you have the same features all the time. This Little Dirk is a running joke when it comes to all the features. So honestly, there was a
future.
point.
There's gotta be a future.
Oh yeah, there's a few. I think there might be a
Future
few.
ESTG,
Uh,
fucking Young Thug.
uh, so Lil Durk. The new album was called Deep Thoughts. There's a futures on track number 3. Little Baby.
Yeah, little
Um,
baby.
Jen Aoko. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, there you
Um,
go.
yeah, but I think it's because I got to the third song and it was immediately a future song. Because actually, it seems that there are actually not that many features, but they just sound like everything just sounds the same for him, bro. Like it just
Yeah,
sounds like anything else I've ever heard from him. So yeah, I would say, and I need to walk away. I walked away from the album like midway because I was like, ugh. But then I finished. It's fine. Like, again, I can see the appeal. The Nav album was honestly way more enjoyable. But my beef with Nav, and is not because he doesn't like my favorite rapper. My beef with Nav is that these songs, I feel like his entire body of work kind of sounds the same, bro. It's
mhm,
a Metro Boomin beat. The production quality is phenomenal, but you already know what his flow is going to be to all these different kind of beats
yeah,
that kind of also sound the same. You're going to find one or two where you're like, oh, that's a pretty good one. But then maybe go back to it later on, right? Like I feel like he's still trying to recapture his no pun intended, but like his minute from like the Give Me a Minute song back in the day with Metro Boomin and like Playboy Cardi.
yeah,
And maybe that one song he had with Meek Mill Tap, which is like a fucking banger, but like really what other Nav songs are you running to put on? Right? Like, I don't know. I feel like in going through it, I was like, I understand the appeal, but I also understand why you're really never going to be this bigger thing than like this guy who's kind of in the scene, but not really ever going to be the guy. And I don't think his looks have anything to do. Like the quality of the actual music is just like whatever.
yeah. I mean, I do like artists like him where I don't expect a whole lot. I do kind of appreciate what I'll call, I guess, just playlist vibe music because these
There's a
guys
lot.
will put out
You'll find
25
like three or
songs.
four then.
Yeah, I just heard a snippet of a song called Burbs that sounds really good. So like
Do the
these aren't
song.
things.
I'm not gonna give it away, but there's a song,
Uh-huh.
and it's not my heat of the week, so it's fine. There's a song that he has with Cardi, and then there's like 10 seconds of the weekend. Bro,
Uh-huh.
that song is fire, right? So there's
Okay.
like 2 songs you'll add. I think that song is called Unlimited. Yeah.
Oh, I think I may have heard part of that in the new Music Friday thing on Spotify. So yeah,
And bro, honestly,
that one sounded
this album was short, bro. It's only like 10, 12 songs. So
okay. Yeah, if I
yeah.
walk away with 2 songs at least, I'll be pretty satisfied. But I agree. Like it's kind of monotonous, like regurgitated. music, but I feel like he kind of knows that. Um,
Yeah.
I get the sense he's not trying too hard or trying to take it too seriously. He's kind of like a French Montana of like this trap Travis Don Tolliver scene. Like just kind of pops up. No, you don't understand like how the fuck he got this far, but at the same time, you get to pick and choose moments that are actually cool. Um,
But is he known for like writing or like
I
producing?
think
Like,
producing. I believe he was a pretty big I think he produced back to back for Drake and a bunch of other shit, and then he
mm,
decided to rap himself, and just was decent enough to where he could make beats for people, probably himself as well, and make music that was acceptable for, like, this genre.
okay. Yeah, and again, dude, I paid to go see Nav in Miami. So again, I'm not coming from a place of hate. Like again, I there was a moment there that I'm like, all right, dude, I really enjoyed that Metro Cardi mixtape with him. I love, dude. Tap is one of my, dude, I had
Yeah.
it on my wedding
Love that
playlist.
song.
Love that fucking song. But yeah, like it's just sometimes it gets interesting to me, especially when we just gave that critique to Drake about like we just kind of wish there was more effort. Like I do get annoyed though when it's artists who are like aren't that good, quote unquote, as far as like the quality of work, and then they also seem like they don't give a fuck, but then they get these like massive cosigns.
Yeah.
And it's like, should we take any of you guys seriously then? You know, like if you're telling me the weekend, which I believe the weekend's one of the most prestigious artists to ever grace, you know, a studio, but then you're telling me this is your man, you know, like you give this guy like fire hooks all the time or something. I'm like, yeah, just that part is like interesting to me. Like, bro, how did you get to this point? I know we're gonna get to the Kanye stuff in a second here, but like then you start thinking like, yo, are there just people who are like, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna put you on because it's beneficial for whatever reason, or I don't know, bro. Because
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like, bro, how are you here? Like, how are you getting a Don Tolliver fucking Fire 16? Like, why is Travis always in your songs? Like, that stuff makes me like wonder, like, what the
Yeah.
fuck's going? Or he just does he have so much money that he just pays these guys so much, and like the feature bag is like something that they're worth doing for?
No, I feel like it's just kind of the classic example of, like, I'm sure in real life, Nav is like super funny and cool to hang around. And then his music's good enough to where if you co-sign him, you don't look too crazy. If you're like leagues above him, like a weekend or something. And I think when they hear him rap, they probably hear a different person, like a dude that like they know, and it just hits different. Whereas for us, like we have no ties to him. It just comes across as like uh basic or mid or whatever you want to call it. But I think to them they just hear like they know him for who he is, and like they're just willing to fuck with him because of who he is as a person. Like that one dude Lefty who's on the Kendrick album, arguably like requires fucking years of artist development to become like an acceptable artist in the mainstream. Like there's so many rappers that could run laps around him, but I think Kendrick and all these other people are putting him under their wing just because of who he is as like a personality.
Mm.
They want to see him win, so they're just putting in all this extra effort that they wouldn't give to like a dude they have like no connection with.
But do you think a feature is putting someone on as compared to like these guys being on all of Nav's tracks for like an 8-year run now?
Um, I mean, I feel like the 8-year run thing is I think they're one of the few people that are probably just like real friends in real life.
Maybe. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a
Yeah.
good point. Like it's not a industry thing of like you give me, you know, you pay me 75K for a feature, so that's why I'm doing it kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, bro, are you? Because again, so apparently the numbers came out, or like the biggest first day and like of the year, and like his numbers were pretty low, and I think his numbers have been consistently pretty low. So, are you surprised then that like, do you think that just echoes everything you just said? Like, hey, like his boys fuck with him, they're gonna keep co-signing him, even if like the industry or the fans don't really give a fuck. Because it would seem like from the numbers that people really aren't trying to tune into this.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think that's pretty much what it is um one, the label isn't willing to invest and play the game for someone who hasn't really had a smash hit. Um like that where it's worth the investment. I think he's just kind of riding the endorsements from his industry friends, and I know he has fans out there, but just not. I don't think they're hardcore enough to
Yeah, 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 yeah.
get the numbers inflated. Because like I'll listen to a bunch of Nav shit, but will I pay $100 to see him in concert or like show out and buy a bunch of merch and stuff? Like that's I think that's where I would draw the line. And I feel like a lot of people with him are just casual listeners.
Yeah, I think. I mean, now that I'm thinking about that, I know he's also signed to XO, right?
I believe so. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, so that kind of makes sense then, right? Because I feel like even back in the day, like remember, like think about all of our favorite like rap groups, right? There was always that one guy who, like, as long as the record label is doing well and the main guy is doing well, they're still gonna let you shine here. And like I think about like, dude, my favorite version of, and this guy will run laps around Nav, but popularity probably Nav got hasn't beat, but like Memphis Bleak, like Rockefeller, right? Like
Uh-huh.
how many times did Jay-Z even say, dude, as long as I'm alive, he'll be a millionaire for life? Like,
Yeah.
so I just feel like, yeah, like again, if the label's doing well, which obviously EXO is doing phenomenally well because of the weekend, I can see them say, hey, dude, we'll always give you at least 100 grand budget for your shit, but whatever you do, we really don't care.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
that kind of,
exactly.
yeah, that makes more sense. Sometimes I think about it because I feel like we get away from like how it was back in the day, whereas like Rockefeller versus Rough Riders versus whoever, and you kind of forget these guys have like their own little cliques. I forget that he's like aligned with that crew very deeply, which I forget sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, they're doing well enough to where they can afford to not have everyone be a superstar
Yeah, which in a
at
weird way,
X.
that's probably like which like maybe like Sheck West is that version for Travis, right? Like, I mean, honestly, there's probably a version of me, of a part of me that thought Don Tolliver would be that, but then again, he just ended up being very good.
Right. Exactly.